Hello and welcome back to another video on Fire Project Gaming on YouTube. So in this short video, I will quickly explain whether or not you should consume or use your 4-star weapons as fodder for leveling up your 5-star weapons possibly, or other 4-star weapons. So I will just share my experience and please take from it what you will. So I am a PlayStation gamer and streamer and playing Genshin Impact here. And I recently posted a question on Reddit, and I got a lot of negative answers, let's say. People were very quick to judge and to call me silly or ridiculous or even stupid or dumb for doing that, or saying that I was doing it just for content. Now, I didn't stream that. I just did them offline because I don't actually stream everything that I do on the game. Um, so I put that out there because I was debating. And long story short, the answer for myself, and this will be different for everybody, was that I decided to consume several of my four-star weapons as fodder into building my 5-star weapons or other 4-star weapons. And now this is not recommended generally, and most Reddit players and other players in the player database and community will say the same. So I do agree, and I agreed with them too. I just made the personal decision to still consume a few of them, not all of them, okay? So for the first thing I want to say is, as you roll on the weapons banners, etc., if you do choose to do so, or any of the banners, because you end up picking weapons even on the limited or on the standard as well, right? So if you will notably come across 4-star weapons and you'll get lots of duplicates, okay? For example, like I can give you just an example on the screen here. I was lucky and I got the 4-star stringless R5 times 2. This is my second one here, and I didn't even level it up yet, but I kept the dupe, okay? The first one is up here, and it's on my venti. Okay, this is just an example. And I have, for example, I have a R5 with Sith book here for Mona, and I have another one here. Now, technically, I want to be honest and open and transparent here. I actually got more than that. I probably have maybe a third R5 one up, but I didn't refine it to R5. My point is I had all these extra copies before, and of these other weapons and sacrificial, etc., etc., etc. Right? Lots of the good ones I got extra ones of, which I'm very fortunate for. Same with the sacrificial sword, etc., and the bow. So what did I do with those extra ones? I did fodder them because I needed the experience. Because we are gated with 30 mystic ore crystals a day that you can craft, and if there are no events to do, or if you've done them all already and used all those crystals, etc., and you don't want to use your resin to use the magic crystals to forge them and craft them at the blacksmith shops, which is not recommended, then that is where I came into getting rid of some of my duplicates, okay? So I think many players would agree with me there. If you have so many extra duplicates, yeah, you should start getting rid of them. Now, where the debate, I guess, was when I had a leveled up, I think I had a level 80 Sword of Dissension. That sword is exclusive to PlayStation Network players and only usable on PlayStation Network. But if you can technically get it as long as you log in your account into PlayStation 4 or 5, for especially now that you can cross-play your accounts. However, that weapon is garbage. It's an R1, and the reason why on the screen right now I'm showing you the Predator bow, which is also an exclusive PlayStation Network weapon for Aloy, the new free 5-star character, which you will get on PlayStation 4 and 5 in the current 2.1 update, and in the next 2.2 update for all the remaining players on mobile and PC. But I don't know if you're going to get this weapon, but this weapon, for those of you on mobile and PC, I mean, this weapon only is usable on PlayStation Network. That the passive will not work on the other platforms. So the reason why I say this is garbage is because currently, at least, it is only R1. It cannot be refined further to R5. See how in the top left-hand corner it turned red? It's a red 1. Just like this, there's a red 5, right? Whereas these ones that are not fully refined is a gray square 3, for example, right? So because that tells me that it's not going to be refinable further, because it's kind of like maxed in that sense. So the Sword of Ascension was the same way. It was level 80. It carried me through the early game. I had it on my Traveler. I had it on my Jean. And then in late game, literally 2 weeks ago, when I posted that on Reddit, I decided to just farm it because I needed the Mystic Ore. So I did it. I foddered it, I mean. And that's what I did, and I did not regret that. The other weapons that I did do, and this is where people got mad. I had an R1 Alley Flash. and Alley Hunter, Wine and Song. I think Wine and Song maybe I got an R2, whatever. They're low refines, okay? Because was not going for those weapons on those banners, and I did not level them up either. They were R1, level 1, okay? Never touched them, never used them, never planned to use them, and I foddered them away. Those, as you know, are the limited edition um, items that are only weapons that 4-star weapons that only appear on limited banners. Okay, those ones I foddered away right away because A, I was never planning to use them, and B, I did not have high refines. I can tell you this right now because those banners never came back, so to speak. They might come back, of course, but then if they come back, would I really want to collect them up to R5 and then use them? No, because they're very niche weapons. I just want to make that very clear here. The sword has high base attack, probably the highest base attack of any 4-star, or maybe it's close to a 5-star really. But then the passive was not something that I needed. And same with the bow, which arguably now people are saying is good for Kujo Sara, etc., etc. But again, there are plenty of other bows and swords out there. Okay, so that's why it was not a big deal to me. The Wine and Song was a very specific energy recharge type of weapon. People said that it could be could be done well for Mona. Again, I'm not even using my Mona that much. So, and then for me, I prefer using my Mona with, for example, the Wit Sift here, which we got recently, not recently, but it's available on many banners, okay? And it's easy to get it up to R5, and it's easy to use because it has the crit damage substat, and it has 3 potential like bonuses for you in the passive. So then, like, this just seems to be more of a well-rounded weapon that Mona could use and other Catalyst users as well. That's why I'm willing to keep an extra copy of it at R5 as well, right? Like other niche ones would be like, for example, sacrificial fragments, which is arguably the best in slot for Sucrose. But other players even use her using the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, for example, right? So that's what I did. Now, speaking of which, just as an aside, because I'm speaking of the Thrilling Tales is a 3-star weapon. There was a few 3-star weapons I also foddered that I had used in the early game. I actually had that green, I forgot what it's called, the Wave Rider sword or whatever. That's the green one that had energy recharge on it. I had that on my Bennett for the early game, and I leveled it up to level 80. And then in the end, I foddered it as well because I'm not going to use it anymore because my Bennett has has a 5-star weapon now, and I even leveled it up or have it up to 80 or 90, sorry, and I also have it at R2 now. So like, and my Xingqiu has his sacrificial sword, for example. So my point is, eventually, when you get to the late game, you're going to have a lot more weapons and you're going to have to make some decisions. Now, you don't have to make the decision because it allows you to hold at the top right-hand corner. You can see you can hold like 2,000 weapons, right? But then there was no immediate need for me, but I really, like, as you know in this game, resources. And I don't like farming already. I don't like farming for the crystals every day. But then it's something that I've been doing lately already because there's so many weapons that came out that I really want to level up. Look, there's so many of them that I'm stuck at 80 or not even 90 yet, right? The Thundering Pulse I got, and I didn't even level to 90 yet. Because I was working on the Engulfing Lightning and now the Catch, right? And then, yeah. And then sometimes you get these other off-banner ones like this. I already talked about this in my 5-star weapon video. And then I again regret leveling this up to 90 because I don't even use my Shao anymore. I hardly used him to begin with. And I don't know what got over me to give him this 90 when I could have used those Mystic Ores and that Mora to level this up to 90 and this up to 90, etc. Right? Or even some of these 4-stars, I could have leveled up to 90 as well. Some really good 4-stars, like hers would be really, would help her elemental mastery because it's based on her attack. Hers would be really well too. So, for example, so again, I can't go back in time. You can't change that now. So I'm just saying, for those of you who are in a situation like me in the late game, where you have a lot of extra weapons, some 4-stars and also 3-stars can be considered for fodder. Okay. Now, as you'll see on the bottom of the screen here, there are a few more that I would consider wanting to fodder. I'm keeping extra Favonius and Sacrificial just because they're very useful and kind of like universal for many characters. This one is arguable whether or not it's questionable even whether I should even keep this. I'm never going to level it up, and I don't think anyone actually needs this. But then you never know because they may like release a character later that may be good for it, right? For example, remember the Amos bow when it first came out on the very first banner at 1.0 was garbage, and then Ganyu came out around, was it 1.3 or something like that? Yeah, and then or 1.2. Yeah, and then Amos bow became very useful, right? And it's her best in slot. So you never know, right? Primordial Jade Wing Spear came out way before. It was already available on the standard banner, and then Shao came out at 1.3, right? And then it's his best in slot. So sometimes they do that where they already created the item, but maybe they didn't release the character for it right away. So that's why it's very cautionable, and that's why many people, just so we're clear, I did receive a lot of support on Reddit as well, and some hate. But then that it's understood, and I completely agree. As a player, I agree completely. But I still ultimately made the decision to fodder some of mine. Now you may not agree with me, and that's fine. But I will say that at a certain point, you have to let things go. You don't have to, I mean, but you will want to, and you have to make those tough decisions. And I do not regret getting rid of the Alley Hunter, Alley Flash, and Wine and Song because I don't ever plan to use them. Now, in the future, if they release a character that really thinks that it's the best in slot, maybe then. But if that's the case, then they're likely going to release them on a banner again in the future anyway, right? But then there's also the hope that I may have another 4-star alternative or like maybe a 5-star alternative at that time too to give them. So I'm not worried as long as, I know what I'm doing, so I'm okay with that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that quickly, to let you guys know, like, what my thoughts are when it comes to foddering 4-star weapons. I would say don't fodder all of them, but only the ones that you for sure know you don't want to use or don't plan to use or that you don't like, okay? Or ones where you for sure have better options for your characters for. Right? So yeah, so I would say maybe hold on to them until way later. That's similar to my 5-star weapon discussion. If you check out my video there, a similar idea to refining your 5-star weapons. Should you keep them separate or refine them? As you can see, I have some separate ones and I have some refined ones. So check that out as well. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them to me in the comments, and feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.